Hey, what's up guys? My name is Chris, and in today's video, we're gonna take this old timber slick, which is basically a giant chisel. It had been restored, resharpened by somebody else, but they put a walnut handle on it. The design of it really wasn't meant for its purpose, I don't think. A friend of mine from work gave this to me to restore for him, at least the handle. I'm not gonna probably mess with the rest of it. But we're gonna replace the handle, and this is basically a giant socket chisel, so we're gonna make a handle that has a matching taper to hit into there, but I'm gonna pull back the shoulder a little bit, because just in one weekend, you can kind of see that it basically drove it down and split it up here to the point where like pieces are coming off. So we're gonna go ahead and attempt to pop this out and recreate it, and I'm gonna use a chunk of white oak, which I think would make a great handle material for something like this, but I'm hoping the design of the handle is gonna make it longer lasting, even more so than the change of the wood. But I do think that white oak is gonna be a better choice than a laminated piece of walnut, which is what this was. There's a glue line there. So let's go ahead and pop this off and get to it. Start with popping this handle off. So lost our cover. You know, I think I'm gonna replace that for him too. So it was just a piece of tape. Definitely, if you're gonna do this, keep in mind that that edge is, at least on this one, is extremely sharp. I have tested it. When trying to get these socket handles out, you just tap them against the side and they pop right out. It's pretty simple. Well, now that the old handle is out, I can use that to cut a new piece out of white oak, and I'll cut that on the bandsaw and throw it on the lathe. Once mounted on the lathe, I'll grab my roughing gouge and we'll just turn this square stock into round, and then we can start putting some marks on it and get an idea of exactly how this handle is going to look. Once I get my line drawn on, I'm going to take my parting tool and I'm going to establish my shoulder, and that's just right at the top of where the tapered tenon is going to be. So we're going to shape our tenon, get it exactly where we want it, and then the rest of it is just shaping it to whatever feels good and looks good. Using the original handle, we're going to kind of slowly taper this down and check back and forth, and using a square bit carbide tool makes this super easy. Now, one thing I'm going to reuse, of course, aside from the blade itself, is I'm going to reuse this metal ring here, which this is probably just some type of pipe fitting or something like that, or maybe even a pipe. But I am going to go ahead and very carefully take this out with drilling some holes in it and see if that'll help wiggle it out. There we go. Now I'm starting to hit metal. All right, I'll clean that up and we'll get that sized up for the new one. here's the two handles. Here's the original, and you can see that it's pretty straight all the way across. So as far as holding your hand on it when you are hitting, your hand could slide up or even slide down. So I made my handle just a little bit tapered towards the end. It's a lot more comfy. And then you got this shoulder here, right here, to stop your hand from going forward. So I still use the steel ferrule. I think that's what that's what we're gonna call it. It was on this one, so I transferred it over, but then I filed it, cleaned it up, and when I filed it on the lathe, like you saw, I went ahead and rounded that edge, so hopefully not only your hands won't get scratched there, but hopefully, you know, a hammer or anything won't get busted up, you know, as far as like a wood mallet or anything. So overall, there it is, and pretty easy to set it in place. There you go. There you have it. Looks like a giant Lee Nielsen, I think. So, pretty nice. I think it's got a good look to it. Definitely has a good feel to it. And I think I'm gonna go ahead and address some areas right here. You know, maybe make sure it's nice and comfy. In other words, nothing to scratch you, because you know, there are times where you use this as a slick. You know, this would be a smaller slick. The bigger ones obviously have a whole lot more weight to them, but this is kind of like right there in the middle where, you know, you could be, you know, banging on it. I don't have a wood mallet with me, but you'd be banging on it. Or you could just use momentum and the brute force of it to slide. So overall, very happy with how this has turned out. Let's do some more. So get the handle off. There you go. Beautiful.